Imagine this. You find a hidden journal, written by one of the most powerful men to ever walk the earth, an emperor who ruled the greatest empire in history, a man surrounded by unimaginable wealth, yet who spent his nights writing about how not to be controlled by it. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome in the 2nd century, didn't just leave behind a legacy of military victories. He left something infinitely more valuable, a manual for inner peace amid chaos, a guide on how to handle money and power without being corrupted by either. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover the financial principles of a man who had everything, yet understood that having everything means nothing. If you don't have control over yourself, get ready, because these ancient lessons are more relevant today than ever before. Welcome to 10 Minutes of Wisdom, where we explore timeless teachings that transform modern lives. I'm Francini, and today, we're diving into the financial wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor. If you want to understand how someone with absolute power and limitless wealth thought about money and prosperity, hit that like button and subscribe, because what you're about to hear will challenge everything modern society teaches about success. Before we explore his principles, you need to understand who this man really was. Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome from 161 to 180 AD, during one of the most turbulent periods in Roman history. He faced endless wars, devastating, and political betrayals. Yet, he is remembered as one of the last of Rome's 5 good emperors. But what truly made him extraordinary wasn't his power or his conquests. It was what he did after the battles ended. Every night, after ruling an empire, after making impossible decisions, Marcus would sit alone and write. He wrote reflections on how to be a better person, how to master his emotions, how not to be corrupted by power. Those reflections became the book we now know as Meditations, but it wasn't written for publication. It was his private journal, his intimate conversations with himself, and that's what makes it so powerful. It's not propaganda. It's not theory. It's the raw, unfiltered thoughts of a man who had it all, fighting not to be defined by it. Marcus Aurelius was a student of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches you cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. And when we apply this philosophy to modern finance, the results are revolutionary. Marcus wrote, "All that you see will soon perish, and those who witness that perishing will perish too." The man who dies at 80 is in no better condition than the one who dies young. At first glance, that sounds dark, but financially, it's liberating. Marcus Aurelius, a man who literally owned empires, understood something most people never will. Ownership is an illusion. You don't truly own anything. You're just a temporary steward. Think about it. Do you own your home? Not really. You manage it for a few decades. It existed before you and will exist after you. Do you own money? No. It passes through your hands from one person to the next. You are not the destination. You are the channel. When you internalize that, something incredible happens. You stop clinging. You stop defining your worth by what you possess. You stop fearing loss because you finally understand everything is temporary anyway. That doesn't mean you neglect what you have. It means you care for it, wisely, calmly, as a good steward, not a paranoid owner. Marcus governed his empire with excellence, but he never let it define him. He knew that one day, the empire would pass to another. And that was okay. That was nature. Here's the practical takeaway. Treat your money as something under your temporary care. Manage it wisely. Multiply it. But don't let it become your identity. When you lose an investment or face a setback, yes, it hurts. But it's not the end of the world, because you understand it was never truly yours to begin with. Marcus Aurelius had access to every luxury imaginable: palaces, banquets, imperial garments, servants attending to his every whim. And yet he wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." He deliberately practiced deprivation. He ate simple meals like his soldiers, slept on hard beds, refused unnecessary comforts. Why? To train his mind not to need those comforts, to ensure he remained their master, not their slave. Here's the brutal truth the modern world doesn't want you to hear. Every lifestyle upgrade is another chain around your freedom. You buy a luxury car. Now you have to maintain it, insure it, live in a neighborhood that matches it. You move into a bigger house. Now you need more furniture, more cleaning, more work to pay for it all. What looks like freedom, more money, more things, is actually a progressive prison. You come dependent on a specific income level to maintain a specific lifestyle. You can't change careers. You can't take risks. You can't follow your passions. Because you're trapped, paying for the very things you thought would set you free. Marcus Aurelius once understood something most people spend their whole lives chasing. Real freedom doesn't come from having more. It comes from needing less. The less you need to be happy, the freer you are. The simpler your needs, the more choices life gives you. A practical reflection. Before you make any major lifestyle upgrade, ask yourself, will this increase my freedom or take it away? That luxury car, does it open doors or tie you to a job you secretly hate? That bigger house, does it bring peace or chain you to a 30-year mortgage? Try this. Once a week, live with the absolute minimum. No luxuries, no extras. Train your mind to understand. You don't need nearly as much as you think you do. This is the essence of Stoicism, and maybe the most powerful principle for building financial freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the world of money, there are things within your control and things beyond it. What you can control, how much you spend, how much you save, how much you learn about money, your discipline, your effort, the value you create. What's outside your control? The economy, inflation, interest rates, the stock market, whether you get that promotion, whether your boss likes you, or the political climate of your country. Most people waste enormous emotional energy worrying about things they can't control. They binge on financial news, panic over every market dip, complain about inflation, blame the government, the system, or their luck. Marcus would say, stop. Stop wasting energy on what you can't control. Redirect it, all of it, toward what you can. You can't control inflation, but you can control your skills. So develop them. You can't control the market, but you can control your saving habits. So strengthen them. You can't control when opportunity knocks, but you can control whether you're ready when it does. There's a simple Stoic prayer that sums this up beautifully. Grant me the serenity to accept what I cannot change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. A practical exercise. Whenever you feel financial anxiety, ask, is this within my control? If it isn't, practice radical acceptance. The economy is in crisis. That's outside my control. What's inside it? I can learn a new skill, cut unnecessary expenses, create new sources of income, focus your energy inside your circle of control. Marcus Aurelius constantly meditated on mortality. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." That might sound dark, but it's actually one of the most clarifying truths about money and life. When you remember you're mortal, your priorities sharpen. You stop postponing life. You stop sacrificing decades of happiness for a future that may never come. Think about it. How many people do you know who work jobs they hate, hoard money they never use, delay their dreams for someday, and then never make it there or arrive too sick to enjoy it? Marcus wasn't preaching irresponsibility. He was teaching perspective. When you remember your time is limited, you make wiser financial choices. You ask, is it worth working 80 hours a week to earn 20% more if it costs me my kid's childhood? Is it worth piling up millions I'll never spend? Try this reflection. Imagine you have only 5 years left to live. How would that change your financial decisions today? You'd probably spend less time accumulating and more time living. You'd trade possessions for experiences. You'd take more risks doing things that actually matter. And here's the truth. You don't know whether you have 5 years or 50, so live wisely. Balance the present with the future, but never sacrifice the present entirely for an uncertain tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius had everything our modern world tells us to chase: power, wealth, fame, luxury. And yet he spent his life training his mind not to be owned by any of it. Why? Because he discovered something profound. Inner peace doesn't come from external success. It comes from internal control. You can have all the money in the world and still be miserable if you don't master yourself. You can have very little and still be deeply happy if you have inner freedom. The real question isn't how much you have, but how much power what you have holds over you. So remember the 4 timeless principles. 1. You don't own anything. You're only a temporary steward. 2. Luxury is often a prison disguised as freedom. 3. Control what you can, accept what you can't. 4. And remember, you will die, so live with wisdom. When you apply these Stoic lessons to your finances, something incredible happens. You stop being a slave to money and become its master. You stop chasing happiness and start finding peace. You still build wealth, but wealth that serves you, not the other way around. If this message shifted your perspective on money and success, hit that like button now. Subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll keep exploring timeless wisdom from the great thinkers of the past and how it can transform your modern life. And tell me in the comments, which of these 4 Stoic principles impacted you the most? Which one do you need to apply in your own financial life? I'll be reading and replying to you. And remember Marcus Aurelius's words, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." That's true for your finances and for everything else. Think like a Stoic, act with wisdom, prosper from the inside out. See you in the next video.